Agrenuisha Akorja is Misha Paula Kunigon. Welcome back to the second afternoon of IST-Africa 2022. So following that excellent presentation by Hilary Lindy, we now have a presentation by Fisseha, who's going to be discussing inclusive digital society in Africa based on affordable connectivity and sustainable digital businesses. I hand over to you.
Thank you, Paul. I will be sharing my screen now. Okay, my talk today will be on inclusive digital society in Africa based on affordable connectivity and sustainable digital businesses. I will try to be as concise as possible. I am from the Council for Science and Industrial Research in Pretoria. I think most of you know about the CSIR, so I don't have to do any introduction about it. So the main aspect, it's not going down. Hello?
So sometimes you might need to click on the screen and then just press the down button. Sometimes it's working now.
Okay, now it's working, yes. My talk will be, our research started actually with identifying the skewed nature of digital infrastructure in Africa, where we have big metros where both industry and the government is investing a whole lot of, but there is a very large area, a rural area, which is not being funded with the amount of funding that is required to do. So what we did is that we are working together with rural digital entrepreneurs. We selected a number of rural digital entrepreneurs as custodians of the digital transformation that we would like to achieve in rural areas. And we, with the UNDP, we are working together. They said that we want to put more youth and women entrepreneurs in this loop of supporting them. And we identified those youth and women-led digital entrepreneurs and SMMEs in rural areas. We supported them with affordable broadband technology, the ecosystem, and also support them with skills for developing the sustainable digital businesses. This, we did it purposely because in previous deployments, we have always been, technology deployments, but we have never seen that how this, SMMEs can survive and sustain their knowledge towards the creation of the digital businesses and new service creation. So that is what motivated us, and we believe that we are seeing now, we have already deployed in several communities, which we will see later. We have seen that there is a socioeconomic impact that we are achieving with this type of intervention that we did. And the final thing is also creating the smart communities and inclusive digital society, which we have been working with the International Telecommunications Union. So the research objective, our research objective was also that we have a long-term research, CSIR research and development, which has created a spectrum innovation ecosystem for deploying affordable broadband networks. And we wanted to deploy this affordable broadband with spectrum and energy efficiency as one of the characteristics of that one, because that's how we can make it cheaper and affordable for the township and rural communities. And we also did work together with universities who actually developed we are trying to support the sustainable digital business models and continuous service innovation, because there's no survival without continuous service innovation. And then we also do monitoring and evaluation, and we connected these SMMEs also to the innovation hubs, local innovation hubs, so that they can create and innovate in their services. So our idea in the future is also that we want to connect smart sensors so that we create the smart communities to optimize their usage of different resources and prepare them for the path to the fourth industrial revolution. So the researcher, the CSIR has created now several technologies in the innovation, spectrum innovation technology ecosystem. We have one technology which we call reference GLSD, geolocation spectrum database, which is being utilized by the regulator. And several regulators actually in Africa are now requesting this technology because they want to use their national spectrum resources in an efficient manner. Then there is a commercial product that CSIR has developed, which allows commercial service providers can run and support network providers access to the underutilized spectrum, which is lying idle in many rural areas. And also even in urban areas nowadays, we have seen. And then we have also a network planning tool, which we support the rural network operators to effectively plan their networks. So we are collaborating now with UNDP, and UK FCDO also is supporting now the project to roll out this in several rural areas in South Africa. And this is a chronology of the work that we have been doing. We have had a number of support. We have done our work with the UK Ofcom, for example, to make the research on databases. And we supported also ICASA with the technical regulation, because the research evidence that has been shown with the smart spectrum research and development is providing the research evidence to go out and do the technical regulation. And at present, we have with the UNDP, working with UNDP, we have 4 rural SMMEs, which are now operating and providing the services and also providing the impact that we expected in the beginning of the project. Our aim is to roll out this into more South African communities and go out also into, our aim is to go at least 1,000 smart communities in creating in Africa. So the first 4 rural digital entrepreneurs were chosen in these 4 areas in South Africa. And our technology can now identify anywhere in South Africa the availability of unutilized spectrum. And we also support now these SMMEs with digital business models and the knowledge creation also that we are providing with WITS Business School, and the connection to local tech hubs for co-creation with the communities, the new ICT services. And we have now also identified 9 more digital entrepreneurs in different areas in South Africa in phase 2, where we plan in the future also to create a condition for 1,000 smart communities all over Africa. So for example, one of the impact from one of the SMMEs that we have supported recently in the KwaZulu-Natal area is that they can now, concurrent internet public hotspots, they can now service 3,400 users daily. And a number of households are connected, and a number of rural businesses are also connected. And they have also now created new jobs based on the networks that they have. We have supported them to deploy. So this is one of the motivations for scaling up the project. And the SMME is actually very much innovative. And now they have also provided marketing for the local products that are in KZN. So I can put this one on. Then we can go to the next slide. Someone is doing the slide, so it's just stopped again.
No, you're moving your own slides. So if it doesn't work, just click on it again and then try to move it on.
Okay, this is also then the other impact that we can find when we include all of the four, which I mentioned before also. So most of these concurrent internet users in public hotspots are possible now with networks that are deployed. And then the number of public facilities connected to broadband internet also are now increasing. And CSIR also has developed now a value chain, TV-wide space, sustainable broadband ecosystem, plus a value chain, a broadband value chain involving the manufacturers of the radio devices for the TV-wide space networks, affordable broadband networks. And also we also provide services like quality measure for the network devices. And the deployment framework looks like this. We have a database that is hosted by the CSIR at present, but in the future we are going to roll it out to a private sector provider. And then we have the SMMEs in a rural community which run the broadband internet. They have their base station, which is a master wide space device. And within they can connect different type of use cases like the agri center, the rural schools, and also the rural clinics can be connected. So one of the communities that we have connected, for example, in Eastern Cape, is now providing services for several schools and rural clinics and agri centers. So the idea of the digital transformation when working with the ITU, the recent conference that we had with ITU, is that we not only want to have the networks rolled out, but we want to connect smart sensors so that we can provide services to the agricultural sector. And one of the areas that South Africa, for example, is requiring is water resource monitoring, water quality monitoring using sensors and the affordable broadband networks. There's a lot of mining sector in rural areas. How do we support that with the networks that we deploy is also a question that we are trying to do. And there is also a lot of, with the UNDP, we are working on green energy and biodiversity restoration because the United Nations has now a decade of biodiversity restoration work that is going on. We have also presented this work in the IEEE African 2021. So in the knowledge generation, we have actually gone towards university level knowledge generation for sustainable digital businesses in resource limited areas. And we are working with the University of Witwatersrand, the business school, to develop that so that we can also use it for other rural areas in Africa. And we have also run a number of tutorials on spectrum innovation and affordable broadband for the SADC, the Southern Africa Development Community, and the communications regulatory authorities of Southern Africa. We have also developed research evidence for technical regulation, which we can share for several African regulators are now requiring it. We have supported ICASA to do that regulation for TV-wide spaces. Actually, it is the first regulation for affordable broadband and spectrum innovation regulation that has come out. We also developed the skills for the rural digital entrepreneurs so that they can co-create new services and also continuously innovate on service creation. that makes it possible so that they can sustain the digital businesses. So in conclusion, we have accelerated digital transformations through empowerment of local digital businesses. We believe that they are the custodians. They should be the custodians who can maintain, because one of the biggest problems in Africa is that we don't know how to maintain something that we have deployed. And that maintenance could be done now with the local digital businesses who also benefit out of the business, who also support the communities to be sustainable and also socio-economically developed. We have now in phase 1, 4. In phase 2, we have already identified 9 sites and we are deploying the networks for them. And in phase 3, we would like to create more smart communities in more continental Africa. We are discussing with several countries now to do this. And we also would like to see that this smart sensor connectivity is very important for the applications in water quality monitoring, health, agribusiness, transportation, finance, and mining. One of the things that we have been discussing with the ITU Digital Transformation Group is that how do we create, based on this, create the smart communities in rural Africa? Because without the smart communities or smart industries creating, then we can talk about fourth industrial revolution, but we will never have that happen. So we need to have the fourth industrial revolution first, apply that one. Now we would like to create also the inclusive digital society in requiring the 1,000 smart communities to be sustainable with a sustainable digital business in Africa. Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity with IST-Africa to give in on this one.
Thank you very much, Fisseha. That was a very interesting presentation. I mean, just following up on what Hilary was talking about in terms of the long-term funding gap, you've touched on another of the third rails in an African context, which is spectrum utilization. You know, it's all very well for people to talk about the mobile revolution and having access to digital services, but if people can't afford devices or can't afford the connectivity, then spectrum utilization and TV white spaces has enormous potential. And I'm particularly interested in what you were talking about in terms of trying to start a continental level initiative in normalizing better spectrum utilization to benefit deep rural and other low resource communities. So can you talk a little about the process that you go through in terms of trying to work out in phase 2 and phase 3, because maybe you can only talk about South Africa right now, but can you talk about the process that you've gone through in terms of identifying the communities and how you would actually deliver services using TV white spaces?
Yes, okay. What we did is that we go out and with a call for the communities, different communities, and there are associations of SMMEs in South Africa, which we can address, and we also tell that this should be, you know, a rural area digital entrepreneur. At the same time, we let me just put this thing. At the same time, we tell these SMMEs to be to have youth and women entrepreneurs. What we have seen is that this type of entrepreneurs need to be encouraged, and they can be supported. And that's what we have now done with 4, and the 9 we have identified also. We have, I think, 5 of them are women-owned and 4 of them are youth-owned. So they are going to. We are now rolling out the network for them. But in the future, what we are looking with in collaboration with UNDP and the UK FCDO And also there are a number of other, the Southern African project support from different but the banking sector also is there supporting this program. And so with that, we would like to go out, because as you said before, in the previous presentation, there was also a discussion about, cross-border collaboration, and these SMMEs would need, more market potential, because now the SMME that we have seen now with which I showed impact, they are also looking into market areas in other African countries. They are now very well equipped to go out and address, for example, markets in Botswana, markets in Zimbabwe, markets in near omrodes like in Tanzania, all of them. So that's what we encourage them when we see that they are also inclined towards that, so that they can improve their market potential. Thank you.
No, that's great. Thank you very much indeed. Does anybody else have any other questions or comments for Fisseha? In which case, thank you very much for your contribution. And I look forward to learning more, particularly about the Continental Initiative with TV white spaces, because I'm sure many IST-Africa partner countries would be very interested in that opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we will collaborate. Maybe the next IST we will present our project, which is going to start in some other African countries too.
Excellent. Thank you very much.